Happy Wednesday, everybody. Welcome into Morning in the Valley, Wednesday, October the 22nd, T-minus 12 days until go time here for the 2025-26 season. Glad you are with us today. Busy show today as we're going to talk with Joe Sullivan. He writes for Main Street, Nashville, and he covers the Belmont Bruins men. We will have our season preview on the Bruins coming up at 9:30, and then in about 9 minutes or so, Joey O'Rourke, he is the radio voice of the Indiana State Sycamores. Will check in on year two of the Matthew Graves era, and most importantly, check in on Matthew Graves after he had a triple bypass surgery on Monday. And we will get into all that coming up here in just a bit. If you have not done so already, please do us a favor. Head to YouTube, subscribe for free to our channel there. All our past shows, all of our interview clips are all there, broken down by team to make it easy for you to find the people you want to hear from. So if you can do that, share, subscribe, comment, like, all that good stuff. That'll help us out infinitely as we continue rolling along. We do want to start, and we'll get into the Matthew Graves story. Thankfully, as he was Monday, the first day of media day, was not there. And Mark Schlesinger, the associate head coach, kind of hopped in. And for some reason, it's like the spider sense starts tingling of, that's weird. They kind of just wrote it off as, he had another engagement, I think was the way it was phrased. And it was one of those, for just that moment, the thought bubble of like, what's going on? And then it's, Lord knows what he's got going on. Well, then as it turned out, a couple hours later, the athletic department putting out that he had been experiencing tightness in his chest, went to the doctors, and they're like, yeah, we need to get you in now for triple bypass surgery. They put out a statement, did his family yesterday, saying that he is okay and everything came through awesome. So thankful to hear that from his family. And again, don't have any idea when he will be back on the sidelines with the Sycamores. But again, inconsequential in the big picture. Just glad he's okay. Glad he listened to his body, listened to his heart, that something wasn't right, and went and got it checked out. And he is going to be A-okay. So we'll talk with Joey O'Rourke about that coming up in a little bit. Speaking of media day, it has been the last 2 days. I got half the coaches Monday, half yesterday, and a lot of stuff. We've certainly already we've plowed all that ground here over the last couple of months with a lot of these guys. But the one thing that from Monday, and really it was Sunday when Ryan Peden, Illinois State head coach, talked about the challenges of, we're playing Illinois in this exhibition game, but just the challenges of playing Power 4 schools. And, I think his quote was, we're 0 for 60 in trying to get these games scheduled. And so, I asked all the coaches that we were able to hook up with over the last 2 days, just, is Ryan being is he puffing things up a little bit, or was it true? Well, yeah, they backed him 150%. Here is Belmont head coach Casey Alexander talking about what Ryan Peden had to say in Champaign on Sunday.
I think it's the same across the board. I think we've played one, I think, Power 5 opponent in 3 years, and that was Arizona, because we had a real significant connection with with someone from our program and theirs, and that's the only reason that game happened. I wouldn't say we exhaust all options every season to try to obtain those games, but we do enough to know that to reach out and make sure that if somebody's looking for a team like Belmont, that we'd be willing to do it. So I hate it. I think it would be great for our program if we had those opportunities for a number of reasons, but they are definitely more and more difficult. I would echo everything that Ryan said.
So that was Casey. And then the other part of it, and Brian Wardle was almost more adamant about, yes, 100%. That is what we deal with and the struggles that we go through. And so my follow-up to Coach Wardle was just about, okay, if all the mid-majors know they're being squeezed out from the top and they're not going to get these top 50, top 60 type games for any reason, whether you're not being bought, whether you're not getting them on neutral sites, certainly the MTE model has really just dissolved in the last couple of years. Is there now more of an importance and an urgency between the top tier mid-major teams to play each other, to do their best to sort of counteract and counterpunch against this box out that we're getting from the power schools. And this was Brian Wardle's reaction to that question.
Mid-major coaches now are more willing to play really tough series because we can't get any high majors on our schedule. So Washington State, San Francisco, playing St. Bonnie, neutral site for us, Princeton and Orlando tournament. Like we got to go find those teams that we think can contend and win their league, and that's what we're trying to do.
So, look, it's not going to change. I don't know that it can change. That is something that we have seen the game sort of evolve in the last couple of years, and certainly as the net has become more important and impactful in tournament selection, and you get sort of the decrees from on high from the conference office saying, yeah, we don't want you playing. We want you playing quad 1 games against like opponents, or we want you playing quad 4 teams that you can blow out. But those Q2s, Q3s, they are of no benefit to us. So please do not schedule them for any reason at all. So that is the challenge. There has to be some sort of look, I don't know how you punch back against that other than you have to counterpunch and be creative in your own way. And that's where, I think we talked with Rocco Miller a couple of months ago, and he said, they're kind of trying to work on some alliances and allegiances between some conferences, trying to get these, those teams that are the top 100 type of teams in those 80, 90s, maybe you get them on a neutral court. Now that's suddenly a quad 2 game. And, when you get to March and you get in the committee room, Q2 game has value. And so, but it's just harder than ever to be able to find those types of games. And that is what all of these coaches are battling against. All right. We had some recruiting news yesterday. And speaking of media day, I believe it was yesterday. The days have run together here a little bit. I believe it was yesterday. We had Roger Powell, Valpo's head coach, who most every coach was in their office and sitting in front of a laptop. They got their 10 minutes with the media. Roger Powell was on the way to the airport, pulled his car to the side of the road, and did his media availability from there. And he said, sorry, I'm on my way to Arizona to go recruit. Fine. Respect the hustle, respect the grind from the Rev. And then it was not, 4 hours later, we get a commitment graphic out from a young man by the name of Rajon Roberts, who is a Chicago native who plays for Arizona Compass Prep out in Arizona, committing to Valpo. Not hard to connect those dots. So well done on Coach Powell getting on the plane and closing the deal with Rajon Roberts, a 3-star prospect, the number 33 point guard in America in the class of 2026, according to 24/7 Sports. He is a 6'2" guard. He is the 3rd commitment from in that class of 26 for Valpo in the last couple of months. This is one of those kids, look, at this level, you're going to get offers for 3 and 4 years almost. And it's like the ones years ago I'm not so worried about. But listen, in the last handful of months, he's had offers from San Diego. He had offers from Virginia Tech. He had an offer from Ole Miss. And in the end, Roger Powell was able to seal the deal with Mr. Roberts and bring him to Valpo, the third freshman to commit from the 2026 class for Roger Powell. We have some staffing news up in Carbondale as Kelly Bond White, a couple of late additions to her staff as she has promoted rehired Harrison Russell, who was Harrison was a grad assistant from 2022 to 24. He went over to Southeast Missouri State, was an assistant coach there last year. He will now be back and join the staff as an assistant coach. He was a student manager at Texas A&M when Coach Bond White was down there in College Station. And then Blake Howard is also on staff now. He has come on as a grad assistant. He was assistant strength and conditioning coach at Phoenix College, junior college in 2024-25. So some late additions, but filling out that staff for Coach Bond White there in Carbondale. Let's see here as we check our guest. Has he arrived? Oh, he has arrived. He is the radio voice of the Indiana State Sycamores. Let us welcome in the man, the myth, certainly the legend in Terre Haute, Indiana, Joey O'Rourke. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning. How are we doing?
Doing awesome. Glad to have you with us today. Before we hop into the season, obviously a scary couple of days in the Indiana State community with Coach Matthew Graves undergoing triple bypass surgery and really unexpected. I don't know that anybody plans on triple bypass, but went in and got it early. Everybody seems to be doing okay. What's the word on the street over in Terre Haute on Coach Graves right now?
Yeah, absolutely. Just so fortunate that they caught this when they caught this. He was set. He went in for a procedure on Friday, which thought was going to be a minor procedure. They were just going to take care of some things, clean some stuff up. And when they got in there, obviously they realized that there was a bigger issue, and they needed to go ahead and do the triple bypass. So everybody's doing good. I mean, everybody, obviously, scary situation. Everybody's thoughts and prayers with Matthew Graves and his family. But talking to the family, it's really amazing how upbeat they are and how positive they are, and just again appreciate they appreciate everybody's outpouring support of Coach Graves and their family at this time. But it took probably a day or two to really. It's still doesn't seem real. I mean, it still seems like it's like no way this is happening right now. To this guy that we're so close with, but everybody, is moving forward, and everybody, is, going to have to start to get with the new norm for the time being.
This is the most insignificant question I'll ask today, but any timetable at all on when he might be able to get back?
That's a great question. I would say that's up in the air.
Yeah.
I would say, first of the year would probably be, a time frame that I could see possibly being if everything still goes right and the rehab. But I think first of the year, maybe get him back around, and I with the stress and everything that goes into it, it's just so hard to say whether he can coach again this year. Obviously, we saw Bill Self come back from his stuff last year and all that, but we'll have to wait and see. But I would think first of the year is a good starting point for hopefully having him back around and at least being able to be around the team.
Yeah, it's he's not going to work a desk job or anything.
No.
There's some added stress on that ticker. So certainly glad everything went well Monday and continued best of health to Coach Graves. Okay, year two of the halted Coach Graves era right now. Yeah. The beat marches on 14-18 a season ago, 8-12 in the Valley, lose at the buzzer in St. Louis in the opening round to SIU with 7 months perspective on it. How do you look back at last year?
Honestly, I mean, I think that you look at it, you're disappointed you didn't get out of the first round of the Missouri Valley Conference tournament. You look back and there was a stretch where you didn't win the games that you had some opportunities to do. There were some games late that you didn't pull out at home against Bradley, where he led by 7 late in that one. You think about Belmont in Holman Center not being able to finish that one. But I think 14 wins in this landscape and having to build a whole new team and him getting the job late in the game, I really think that you view it as 14 wins. Yeah, it's not a winning record, but I think you look at it as a success because you look at the offense, and it was one of the top offenses in the Valley. And obviously the defense was a different story. But I think that you saw a lot of positives in the way that Matthew Graves wants to play. And overall, I look back at it, disappointing that you didn't finish the way that you wanted to finish. But I overall, I thought it was a fun season, and I thought there were a lot of positives to take from it and moving into what is year two.
Graduating 3, lost a handful to the portal, but really most impactfully, I think Samaj Deal, obviously graduating, was a first-team all-conference guy. Jaden Daughtry, who really came on and was really dude, that guy impacts winning toward the end of the year. He moves on to Richmond. You knew you were losing Samaj, but what kind of void will Jaden's departure leave with this program?
Yeah, I mean, I think from a scoring aspect, it leaves a void, and you got to find somebody that is going to, come in and take care of that. Maybe it's not just one guy, maybe it's a couple guys that have to do that. Defensively, I think you could probably say that, Jaden at times left some things to be desired. But offensively, you cannot say enough about the impact he had. And Indiana State was better when he was on the floor offensively. That does hurt. I think that they do have some pieces that I've seen this offseason that I like that are going to do a nice job at filling that void. And like I said, it might not be just one guy; it might be a couple guys that are filling that void to score what Jaden did last year. But again, yeah, it stinks to lose a guy like Samaj who came in and impacted the game like he did. But at the same time, you're 14 and 18, and there are some things that were left to be desired. But I really like what they got going into this year.
In terms of additions, it's interesting watching the portal shopping, if you will.
Yeah.
And sometimes you get guys that are high pedigree guys that come in, they average 2 points at a big time place, maybe didn't get a chance, and Coach Graves almost going in a different direction to maybe lower levels, but dudes that have done it and are sort of proven commodities. And I feel like no better commodity than Sterling Young, who comes in as the SWAC player of the year. What have you seen out of Sterling so far, and where's your excitement level with him?
Yeah, there's a lot of excitement level with Sterling. Sterling is a what they would call a certified bucket getter. You think about what Samaj brought last year. He was, again, a certified bucket getter. He's a dude that could go get you a basket when you need to get a basket. And Sterling, in my opinion, brings that same type of pedigree. When you need a basket, he can score for you. He can shoot the basketball. Averaged 17 a game, Florida A&M last year, SWAC player of the year. I'm very, very excited to see him get out there in a meaningful game in an exhibition facet next Wednesday at Butler. And I'm excited to see this whole team. But Sterling, again, when you need a bucket, Sterling's the guy that can give you that bucket.
A guy that's certainly off most people's radars, unless you are really a college basketball sicko, and that's Ian Scott. I mean, he averaged 18 points a game at Grace College, which is an NAIA school, but he was an All-American first team. I mean, another bucket getter there. What kind of impact do you think he can have at the Division I, making the jump really to the Division I level?
Yeah, to be seen. Until you see him do it. But Ian's a winner. Like at the end of the day, he is a winner, and he's got a winning mentality, and he is a leader, and he is going to do things. And his passing ability, he's really a good passer. I think you got to see, because he rebounded the ball well at the NAIA level. Now you got to see how that translates, up to the Missouri Valley Conference level. But he is, like I said, a proven winner. He's a guy that knows how to play the game, and that's probably the one thing about this team that I love so much is they can get on each other. They can, hold each other accountable. And Ian's not afraid to hold his teammates accountable. He's not afraid to hold himself accountable. And I think that is something that really is going to drive this team this year.
A couple of guys coming back that big expectations for. And I think first and foremost, you just look at Camp Wagner, who was a double-digit scorer last year, and really you're shooting the basketball. What sort of leap can you expect from him this year?
Oh, I think you're expecting a big-time leap from Camp. I mean, this was a huge get-back for Matthew Graves to retain him in the portal. He's a guy that, you could command quite a bit of money because of his shooting ability. And, thankfully, Camp and his family saw the value of Camp being able to play, not just, maybe some sparing minutes here and there when you need somebody to, bust a zone if you're playing against a zone. But they really see the value in what Matthew Graves is doing and the opportunity that he has to be, a 25, 30-minute a night game player in a game. So expecting a big leap from Camp. I think you're going to see Camp probably. I would think you'd see Camp probably go from 10 points a game up to 15, 16 points a game. I think that would be a jump that's expected.
And a guy that's just, I mean, he's a condominium with feet, Marcus Harding, just such a wide, big body that just had an up and down year last year. And certainly I would think he would be the first to say didn't meet his expectations. But is there, can we bust through the glass ceiling and have him be in a league with a ton of big dudes this year? He is going to be a vital piece in the middle there for Coach Graves.
Yeah, he absolutely is. And I think you got to see Marcus jump up from, 6 points a game. I think he has to double that. I think he needs to double that output. I think he's going to have to step up his rebounding game as well. Marcus coming in, looks to me like he's in the best shape that he's been in his college career. He looks, a little bit lighter on the feet. Marcus, they asked him to be the hub of the offense, and they're going to still ask him to be the hub of the offense. But, coming in year one, there's a lot of things that you have to, play out. And, sometimes you can be uncomfortable in that role. And I think you saw that at the beginning of the year, but I think you also saw him at times during later parts of the year where it's like, okay, yeah, he's really starting to figure it out. With the additions of an Ian Scott, with a Derek Forrest being healthy, I think that maybe you can see, Marcus become more natural, maybe going back down, playing on the low block a little bit more. But he's a kid that can shoot from the outside as well. He can stretch defense. I watched him knock down 3 in a row from the outside, just the other day. So again, I think Marcus is going to probably, have to double his output when it comes to scoring, probably, more than double his output when it comes to rebounding. But I think you do see a jump from Marcus Harding.
Another guy that, showed flashes last year was Bruno Alathan, who broke his thumb over the summer. What's sort of the health update on him, and is he 100% ready to roll now?
Yeah, Bruno's been going. He's healthy. He's been going for a while now. To me, Bruno looks stronger. He looks like he's put on some weight, which was needed. Everything I've seen from Bruno in practice, and he is going to be a big time contributor on this team. And this team needs Bruno. They need Bruno because he just plays the game the right way. He knows how to play the game the right way. They're going to need him to, again, step up his output as well, though.
Schedule. 5 home games. You're going to get 4 on the road, 2 neutrals. You get Louisiana Tech twice and sort of a schedule oddity there, but 2 non-D1s at home. What's the general vibe of the non-conference schedule from your seat?
To me, I think it's better than what it was last year. Obviously, you don't have the MTE event down in the Bahamas where you had Iona, Arkansas State, and obviously Tarleton State was down there. You do get La Tech twice, and that was an oddity. There are a couple MTEs, and with the way that the Missouri Valley Conference, has the standards that they set for what those MTEs have to do and your opponents have to be in the net rankings. It just didn't work out to where it was going to be beneficial to go somewhere. So it works out to where we can go to La Tech. We can play La Tech. We can play Alcorn State, get 2 games down there. So good with that. Obviously, going to Cameron Indoor is going to be an experience for these guys, and seeing that will be good. But overall, I think, you got American Athletic Conference. You've got Charlotte. That's a really good road game. You look at Wisconsin, Milwaukee, they're picked to win the Horizon. So, again, another good opportunity there on the road. La Tech comes to Terre Haute. You have a couple non-D1s. But overall, I think the non-conference schedule is better than it was last year. But, we know this, Jeff, and Ryan Peden said it the other day. Mid-majors are getting squeezed out when it comes to the scheduling. And unfortunately, would you like to play 2 non-D1s? Probably not. But at the same time, you got to be able to find home games. And that just, unfortunately, is few and far between these days.
Conference schedule out of the jump. Home Bradley, at Illinois State, home Belmont, at Northern Iowa, at Drake. We're going to learn a lot about this Sycamore team in the first 2.5 weeks of the season, aren't we?
Yeah, absolutely, we are. And I think that's what you want if you're Matthew Graves and this coaching staff. You want to know where your team's at, and you're going to find it throughout the first 5 games. And if you can, somehow come out of that, I think 2-3, 3-2. Obviously 4-1, 5-0 would be would be great. But again, if you can somehow come out of that around the 500 mark or maybe a game above 500, I think you feel really good about the first 5 games, and you really have to like where your team's at.
Blue Ribbon yearbook had the Sycamores 11th out of 11th.
Yeah.
That felt maybe a little disrespectful.
Yeah.
What's your, I don't want to say ceiling. Let's just, in your heart of hearts, where do you think this team kind of lands as we get to St. Louis?
Honestly, I think that top 5 is something they could do.
Okay.
I really do. Middle of the pack. I mean, 6. Honestly, other than really your top 3, I really think that this conference is open, and even we don't know what the top 3 are going to look like. Right. I mean, Illinois State has a lot of the expectations. They've got everybody back, and that is a really good basketball team. But we don't know. They've never finished above 500 in the league when it comes to that, and so this is a wide open league. I think I think it's going to be a great test. But I do think Sycamores can finish top 5. But middle of the pack. And the thing with Blue Ribbon, and I respect all they do, but this day and age, I mean,
we're just rolling dice. We're
just rolling dice, and it's one of those things because again, we don't know what a Jovan Bugenhout is going to do. We don't know what, Sievert Nordheim is going to bring. Maybe Martin Kopanger, a freshman for Indiana State, has a stellar freshman year. We just don't know. It's rolling dice. But I think really anybody can win this league. I think anybody can, finish top 5. It's going to be a lot of fun to see how it all plays out.
He's Joey O'Rourke, the radio voice for the Indiana State Sycamores. Buddy, good seeing you this morning. We'll see you down the road very soon.
Absolutely. Thanks for everything you do for the Valley, and we'll see you down the road.
All right, brother. Thank you. There is Joey O'Rourke as the Sycamores. Really the big news, obviously, Matthew Graves' health. And again, thankfully, everything went well Monday, and hopefully we'll see him back on the sidelines very, very soon. Shifting gears now south to Nashville, Tennessee. Time to do our season preview on the Belmont men. We're going to welcome in now. He writes for Main Street, Nashville. He is Joe Sullivan. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning. That was very interesting listening to Joey.
Well, that's the first person to say that today, so thank you for that. So I didn't have mom or dad on the line yet, so I'll take all the compliments we can get. All right, Belmont, 22-11 a year ago, 13-7 in the conference. 4th overall, finally got to Saturday. The preseason polls, 5th in the Valley preseason poll, 3rd in the Blue Ribbon. It seems like just banging the head on the glass ceiling right there. With all the folks coming in just from a 30,000-foot view, is there some optimism that we can finally bust through that glass ceiling? Can Casey Alexander and the gang get to Sunday maybe and beyond?
So there's a lot of optimism here for Belmont. I think there's a lot of I've seen one practice and I talked to people, but there's a lot of people saying this is going to be a very good team this year. And talking to Casey, for those listening who don't know Casey Alexander, he really is the epitome of a confident man. He really believes in himself and his team, his school. So we have to sort of look at it through that lens. But when I was talking to Casey and we went over this team, he said, this is a championship level team. This is a team that can win the Valley regular season. This is a team that can win Arch Madness in St. Louis. He's expecting to be at or near the top, and he's thinking about an NCAA tournament bid out of the Valley this year.
When we look at, obviously, you're going to get roster turnover, but for the most part, things pretty stable coming out of last season. But certainly the most impactful guys leaving, Jonathan Pierre and Carter Witt. Pierre was a first team all-league guy. Witt was third team. What void did they leave coming that Casey's trying to refill this year?
They have 11 players back from last year's roster, which has got to be near the top in the country, except for like the Ivy League and the Patriot League, which has a lot of players back. So there's a lot of veteran people on this roster. And among those 11 are 3 players who redshirted as freshmen last year. Again, another unusual move in this day and age that players would sit out an entire season. and wait to play. But you make a good point. Of the 4 missing, they were the leading scorers on the team are all gone. So it is except for one key player, Tyler Lumblade, who led the nation in 3-point shooting. He's back. He's the one player returning who really had an offensive impact on this team. But I think the other returnees, many of them were contributors and important contributors. Starting big man Brigham Rogers, possibly his junior year now. This could be the year he moves forward. And but 2 people, and we talked about this when I was on your show before. The 2 6'9" redshirt sophomores, Sam Orm and Drew Sharnowski, are players that have star potential. And I'm gonna, I'll go out on a limb with Orm, whose game I love. I think he's going to be a contender for all league teams. He's going to have a breakout season, and I've heard he's been the best player in their practice sessions. So I expect big things from him this year.
And that really was my question about.
Go ahead.
I was saying about those big 3 inside with. But no, you're fine. No, but just about Orm and Rogers and Charnowski, it's such a 3-headed monster, and they all play in different ways. But I think you answered the part about who can maybe be the breakout of those guys, and you do believe it's Orm.
I do believe it's Orm. More of an inside-outside game than the other 2. More offensively skilled than the other 2, and also can put the ball on the floor and get to the basket. He's the one that I really think has the chance to break out and be an all-league type player.
When we talk about those departures, though, and again, Pierre and Witt, Isaiah Walker transfers to Xavier, Brody Peebles graduates as well. That's 45 points that you're losing. Obviously, a lot of eyeballs are going to be on Tyler Lumblade, and we'll get to him in a second. But just where does 45 points come from? It's
a very good question. It's a very good question. I think it's going to have to come from the 3 guys we just talked about are going to have to really up their offensive output. And then now we have the 2 transfers that are also going to be very key for this team, because Carter Witt, even though he was 3rd team Valley, and Pierre, they had the ball a lot. They made things, they initiated things. Pierre was an excellent passer for a big guy. So these transfers are going to be key. And so the 2 transfers are Nick McClain, who's a 6'3" point guard from oh wow, are you prepared? That's sensational. Transfer from Eastern Washington. Now he's coming from an Eastern Washington team that wasn't very good, but he averaged about 10 points and 4 assists a game around there. And he's an unselfish thinking player. He wants to be someone who makes plays for others. And so I think Casey's confident that he will be their starting point guard. Casey described him as solid at both ends of the court, that he's not going to wow you with his individual play, but solid at both ends. And then Isaiah West is a very interesting player. Now he's been his preseason has been curtailed by a shoulder injury, but Casey thinks he's going to be okay by the time the season starts. Now, here's a kid. You have a picture of him here playing at Vanderbilt, where he started 9 games as a freshman for Jerry Stackhouse. Then he transferred to Sanford, and his offensive output there is minimal at best, less than 3 points a game. But Sanford plays that type of with Bucky McMillan, now the coach at Texas A&M, where he plays everyone. He plays 10, 11, 12 guys, so no one's going to have necessarily big offensive averages. What Casey likes about him is that he brings defensive toughness. He feels he's going to be one of the team's best defenders. And look, Belmont over the years, we know Jeff not known for exactly tough defense at times. That if you could pick a weakness out that they've had, so this Isaiah West is going to be very important for perimeter defense. And I'll jump. One thing that surprised me the day I saw the team, and what Casey said really surprised me, is this freshman guard, Jack Smiley, who honestly, when I was evaluating the team before I went in to see them play, I just figured he's a freshman. Maybe he'll play a little bit. Well, Casey raved about this guy, off the charts, that this kid has been outstanding in everything they ask him to do. Casey said this. He said that normally when freshmen come in, they take a step back or 1 or 2 steps back before they move forward again. This kid has been full speed ahead. in case he's going to be a factor for this team in the backcourt. So there's another offensive. He's a shooter. He's a kid who can shoot it. So there's another guy who's going to give him more offense. So it's I think the offense will be there despite the losses, but it's just going to come from people who haven't done it before. And that remains to be seen how it's going to sort of transpire.
Listen, if you give up 85 points, as long as you score 90, everything's okay. So, it's simple math. It's simple math. But we talk about the shooters. There is the shooter, and it is Tyler Lumblade, led America in three-point shooting a year ago, and really one of the great stories in college basketball to go to find a third school that he walked on and earned a scholarship for the third time, but he's finally found a home there in Nashville. Just before we get into the on-the-court stuff, I got a chance to talk with him earlier this summer. Just seems like an absolutely fantastic young man. Just what's been your take of him, of just Tyler Lumblade, the human being?
Well, I do think he's a really good kid, and I've talked to his parents, and so you can see where it comes from. Very nice people, and here's someone who could be very bitter and angry over how his college basketball career has transpired. Where he walked on at SMU first, and the coaching change, he transfers to TCU, and then he's there, and then he told me this story where the roster was full. They had the 13 scholarships, and he's working out in the gym, and he's got the ESPN on, and then it comes across that TCU has signed another player, and it dawns on him. He goes, I'm done. I'm out. And so they push him off the team. And so he really has been treated poorly by other coaches who didn't know what they have. Then so his original, the coach who originally recruited him, Tim Jankovic, I think is his name, at SMU, is a friend of Casey's. And he pushes him to Belmont. Casey takes him as a walk-on, has really no idea what he's getting, and he ends up with the best three-point shooter in America. So I guess you need a little bit of luck in this game too, don't you?
A little bit. It's really just a remarkable, just pennies from heaven situation, and it turned into dollars from heaven in a lot of ways for Casey Alexander. Again, from going into last summer, I don't know what we have. Getting the beginning of the year, we don't really know what we have. Hey, he's making some shots. That great. And then he goes through a month stretch where he makes all the shots. He's now the focus on everybody's scouting report that is going to play Belmont this year. 48% might be asking a lot, but in terms of shouldering the burden of expectations of you are number one on the scouting report, how do you think he's going to handle that this season?
I think it's going to be different because it is he's not a ball handler. He's someone they're going to have to get open with offense and get him open shots. And one thing Casey said to me was that he's also going to have to learn to play Casey first said, I asked how it's the same way you just did, how teams are going to handle him now that he's the focus of the offense. And he said, well, pretty much like they did the end of last year with a lot of clutching and grabbing and already complaining about referees. That was Casey was warming up. And he said, but he's going to have to deal with that. And then he's going to have to find new ways to get open. Change of pace, he said, be the screener and then get open because you are the screener. And also he said, in some ways, get as a decoy of sorts, get open shots for other people as a team player. So I think that the type of player he is, I don't think we're seeing an explosion where he's going to average 20 points per game. I think if he matches what he did last year in terms of output, he averaged about 12, I think. Yeah, I would think that would go up a little bit. But I can't see him being like a 20-plus scorer a game just because he's not the type of guy that makes his own shot, putting the ball on the floor. He has to get open shots. But he's had a great year shooting. There was a video that was out. It was spread on social media where he was he hit like 172, 178 shots in practice, including 68 in a row. So he's putting the work in, no doubt about it.
For sure. And if he can put the ball on the floor at all and get to the free throw line, he is all but automatic, as you would expect from a guy that's 48% from outside. I mean, he was high 90s for much of the year. Not a volume free throw shooter, but
he gets there. Did not get to the line a lot because he's outside the arc mostly.
Sure. That's you can mark him down when he gets there. Schedule wise, heard from Casey Alexander. yesterday on the media day call, and we talked about non-conference scheduling. It's just, Belmont, you win, you just put 20 wins down, no question. Even here in October, that's going to happen. Not a lot of big boys, and in recent history, saying no big boys are interested in playing the Bruins. But you get 5 home games. Air for a lot of regional teams with Tennessee State, Lipscomb. Air Force is coming in. A good game with Richmond. Go get a good road game at College of Charleston. Get to go to Fort Myers for your MTE. Get a little sunshine. No heavy hitters, but what do you think of the schedule for the Bruins?
Yeah, I agree with everything you said, Jeff. I think that this is a schedule they should win all their non-conference home games.
Yeah,
that should be their goal.
Yeah,
because they're all beatable teams. Then you get to the road games. The tough ones would be at Charleston, at Oral Roberts, but mostly at UC Irvine. That's going to be a tough game. They're picked to win the Big West again. So that's going to be. They lost them at home last year when they gave up, I don't know, over 60 points in the second half. So they're going to have to be ready for a physical game out there. So that's a dangerous game. The MTE in Fort Myers is really kind of yes, exactly. It's St. Francis of Pennsylvania, which is dropping to Division III next year.
Right.
So that's like they could be their worst opponent on their schedule. No, I'm joking. And
not really, but not really.
Yeah, it could be. It's like a Division III game. Yeah, it's like and then the Troy or Toledo. Troy did win the Sun Belt tournament last year, and Toledo is always decent. So that's a challenge, that game.
Yeah, it feels like, though, I mean, if Belmont's who we think they are, and it's hard because people and fans don't always appreciate it, that teams grow into themselves as the year goes on. And certainly it's going to be some adjustments, and we're trying to find, as you said, 45 points in the preseason, but who they are in November is not who they're going to be in March. But I'm like, I really feel like they can go 9-2 and really win a lot of these games, hopefully, and set themselves up for that, the vaunted at-large discussion. Maybe not with some big pelts on the wall, but there's a lot of winnable games, and hopefully they'll be able to take care of their business.
Yeah, I agree with that. And it's Casey will use this time to figure out who's really he can count on when we get to the Valley. It's because we've mentioned a lot of names here, and it's gonna evolve.
Sure. About
who's going to be the real important players. To me, Lumblade and Orm are going to be the focus.
It all starts. We're less than 2 weeks away. Can't wait for this thing to get rolling. Joe Sullivan, Main Street, Nashville. Thank you so much for the time, and hopefully we do this again very soon.
Anytime, Jeff. Thanks a lot.
All right. Thank you. There is Joe Sullivan. And again, I just looking at this schedule, and it's like I feel like we've talked about schedules all through the summer as they've kind of been pieced together, and then it's like, it's finalized, and I forget about it and come back and look, and it's like, this is a manageable. I don't even know is the right word, but it's manageable. To Joe's point, you got to win your 5 at home. Richmond's not going to be a walk at home, but the MTE, I mean, it's like, yeah, you got to get those. And look, but you got to play Lipscomb, which is always just an event unto itself when Belmont and Lipscomb get together. And I mean, last year's game down there, I think Belmont trailed by 10 with, 2 minutes or some ridiculous thing, and they come storming back and win at the very end. Middle Tennessee is always kind of one of those teams that's awesome or the anti-awesome. You never know which side of the coin you're getting with them, but that road game at Oral Roberts will not be a walk. The road game at College Charleston will be a challenge, and certainly really, I think the marquee piece to their non-conference schedule is that game at UC Irvine out west. And so, but I like, that's a team. This is a team that from a non-conference standpoint could be the Rabbit and go win a whole bundle of games. Running the table like Drake did is not a natural thing. We've talked about that before. It's not natural to win all your games, but I think Belmont can win a lot of these and set themselves up to get ready to roll once conference season re-emerges. One final piece of news this morning. Old friend alert, Marcus Damask, the former Southern Illinois standout, spent 1 season at the University of Illinois, but was a 3-time All-Valley performer. Has been playing for the Windy City Bulls in the G League, and he has been traded to the Santa Cruz Warriors, part of the Golden State, obviously, the Golden State organization. Last season with Windy City, Marcus averaged about 9 points, 3.5 rebounds, 4 assists per game. Went over to Germany in the offseason, played 13 games over there, and now he is back, and he has been traded out to Santa Cruz. So an opportunity now to be in the Warriors organization, and we will see. God, he was good. He was just good, and just that big 6'6", 6'7" body, shoot the ball, can get inside, can do a lot of things, and he's going to, whether it ends up being in the NBA, whether that path ultimately hits a roadblock and he needs to go to, whether he has to go overseas to play, Marcus Damas is going to make money for a very long time playing basketball. And wish him the best of luck, and enjoy out west now in Santa Cruz. All right, that does it for this morning's edition of Morning in the Valley. I want to thank Joey O'Rourke, the radio voice for the Indiana State men. Also, Joe Sullivan covers the Belmont men for Main Street Nashville. Thanks to them for being here and helping us with our preseason previews. We are very rapidly winding down, which is very good because the season is very rapidly upon us. 12 days from now, on November the 3rd, we will tip it up. So cannot wait for that. If you haven't done so already, please go to YouTube, subscribe for free. Like, share, comment, all that stuff. But all of our past shows, all the interview clips, all of our preseason previews broken down by team, they're all there on our YouTube channel, Morning in the Valley. But you subscribing will help us immensely as we keep this thing rolling. And again, once the season starts, if you subscribe and click the little notification button, you'll be notified and reminded every time we go live. And once the season starts, we'll be live a whole lot more often than just Monday, Wednesday, and Friday here in the morning. So thank you for being here with us. We will see you again coming up on Friday morning, 9 a.m. as always, right here on Morning in the Valley.